All right, welcome everyone. I'm so excited for this special meditation for helpers session. And so thank you for for those of you that are here live, for those of you that are catching the replay. I know that I say this every time and I really mean it. I know that we're co-creating this, right? It's a co-creation, and not just for those of you here live, those of you also joining in the replay. And I know that because there's many times that when my coach or my teachers offer classes, I can't attend live and I watch the replay and I'm so connected, right? I feel so included. Like it's like, oh, we're co-creating this. So I really want to name that. And so the goal is 30 to 45 minutes. I have not decided if this is going to be an ongoing offer or not. But whether it is or not, it is the first one. I did one in December. It was very kind of impromptu, like join me for meditation. I think Jen, you were there for that one. This one, I was guided, for some time to do this. And so it's really important to give some background. And I've been sending it. I did a video. I sent some emails about this. I talked about it in my podcast. But I can't assume when we do these classes that you've all watched everything, right? That I've done. So I apologize if some of you have heard some of this already, but you know what? Repetition is important. Now, because this is a meditation class, really the reason for this is to join in a meditative space. I'm not going to start with a meditation. I want to start with the introduction. And so, before anything, for those of you who are new to my work, or if you forgot, my name is Lisa Espinosa, and I'm a spiritual career coach. And my focus is to coach, to help, to support helpers. Now, whether you're a therapist or you're in the wellness profession, which a lot of my clients, I would say probably like 70% of my clients fall into that category, therapists, coaches. Those are the two main ones. Also, like in the medical field. And then there's others who don't fall specifically in that category, but whether you're in philanthropy, marketing, you have your own business, whatever it is, but you have that helper heart, right? You know that you are here, you've had that longing, that dream, that commitment to bring transformation to the world in whatever way you do it. Even this includes if you're retired or semi-retired. So, and I've been thinking a lot this year as we begin right? It's a year one, it's a year pretty soon in a couple of weeks, we're changing animals, right? Nothing against the snake. It's been incredible and transformative, but I'm ready. I'm ready for the fire horse. I really believe that I'm ready. My parts are like, can we be done shedding? And obviously, I know shedding will continue for the rest of our lives, but it has been a really intensified period of shedding. And so we're in a year one, moving into the year of the fire horse, starting a 9-year cycle. And so it's been natural, right? You might have been doing this too, to really think about what is this next 9-year cycle for me about? Now, I've thought about it in all areas of my life, but in this particular moment, I'm going to share about my service, right? My work, my career, all of that, which involves all of you. And I've decided right now, my goal is that in 3 years, I have a group coaching program, right? It's a sovereign helper coaching program that's really serving a lot of people. And that everything I've done so far and everything I'm going to do until so that's 2028, is going to be preparing my teachings for it, preparing me so that I have more wisdom, more experience, and preparing my audience. I know some of you are already my clients. So there's that, but then there's I can feel like the reason to move into group coaching is not so it's easier, as some people might think, right? Like, oh, I'm going to do group coaching. That's easier. No, it's because at some point you are guided to scale, right? To offer your medicine to more people. And so that's the guidance I'm having, that in 3 years, that's the goal. I think I will still have a much, 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 much smaller group of clientele at that point, but the goal is that group program. And so as I've been preparing for that, as I've really anchor in that vision, my soul, the divine's like, well, how do I prepare people for this? Right. And I've really been thinking about that. Like, what are the things that people need the helpers, not people, but helpers need to practice, need to release, need to learn, need to uh, really kind of do inner journeys on. And one of the things that kept coming back, I know it's not shocking, but is meditation. But from my specific, I don't want to call it perspective, but my specific medicine, right? That's coming through meditation. I'm not saying this is the best way, this is the only way. That is not what I'm saying, because we each have a role to play in the transformation of the world. But for me specifically with meditation, it's about using the practice of meditation to receive, right? To receive from your soul, receive from God, receive from the divine. And from that place, increase your capacity to help. And when I say help, that means however you do it. And please don't let your brain start to give you doubts like, oh, well, I don't know how I'm going to do it. Well, I'm in transition. That's okay. It doesn't matter. Okay. It's like what we're doing through meditation is plugging back into source, our soul, the divine, receiving. And from that place, as you receive, as you learn to receive more and more and more and more of what? More of who you are, more of yourself, more of like infinite capacity, more creative ideas and solutions, more aspects of your divine medicine. Like that is how service, creativity, leadership becomes sustainable. Not only sustainable, that is how, because really, this is what the Divine Mother told me. It's like we're learning as helpers, how do you create more impact with less effort? More impact with less effort, more impact with less effort. And I know for some of us that might feel like, oh, are we saying we're going to become lazy? Is that selfish? Is that even allowed? So let me clarify that. More impact with less effort is less egoic effort, less effort that's coming from the ego, less pushing, less trying to control, less hustle, eventually no hustle, right? Less proving ourselves, all of the things that actually make service and leadership exhausting. It really hardly ever is about the amount of things that are on your list. It's more about the mindset you have when you're doing the things, right? That's what it is. And so when Mother Mary, when the Divine Mother was like, okay, I'm calling on the helpers of the world, right? Like a few years ago, the message was like I was using the word priestess a lot in that time. I'm not against that word just to be clear. It's just that was kind of a moment where I was really embodying that part of my medicine. So I was really guided to speak that word a lot more. And Mother Mary, the Divine Mother, said to me in meditation, like the priestesses have suffered enough. Right. And then there was, you are blessed and you are a blessing. So all these like teachings that kept coming. Right. And then these last year, especially 2025, there was a lot about how do you increase your impact? How do you share more of your medicine in a way that feels life-giving, not in martyr sacrifice mode, because that keeps so many helpers from sharing their medicine, the fear of burnout, the fear of overwhelm. So this class today, this session is about that. Is specifically where I am going to lead a meditation, and I'm going to talk about two energetic practices that are really essential. But I'm going to talk about the mindset behind them because, yeah, so I'm going to talk about the mindset behind them. Okay. So thank you for hanging in there. I do want to show you the cards I pulled. So first I asked, okay, what is this meditation going to be about? And we got it. I love this. Higher heart activation, dropping shields, divine love, your heart is healed. Okay. So this is like, we're going to go into our heart, into the heart that is not the one that's been broken or betrayed or has walls around it or any of it's like that source heart inside of us. And then I pulled Ascended Master cards that, like, okay, who's helping us? And I got first one, the Divine Director, trust the process, create space for divine order to unfold. Trust the process. And actually, it just hit me. I hadn't thought about this, but this Wednesday, the podcast episode I'm going to share is about the self-doubt core wound for helpers. Like, I really believe helpers have this core wound around self-doubt. And so I've been really exploring, why is that? How does that harm us? How do we confuse that for reflection? And so it's interesting that we're hitting here, trust the process, right? So there's something about how meditation, this type of meditation that I'm teaching, that I'm sharing, that I'm bringing here, is a big part of the medicine you'll receive is to learn to trust. Trust yourself, trust your soul, trust your life, trust when things don't make sense, trust the in-between time. All of the things that planet Earth is experiencing at a mass global scale. And so, as someone who's here to be the leader, to be at the forefront, whatever that looks like for you, these are the things we're meant to master. We're meant to be the examples of what's possible. We're meant to be the examples of trusting the process. This isn't about putting pressure on ourselves or being perfect, but like knowing that. Okay, so this was one. Then, not shocking, who do we get? Mother Mary, miraculous encounter, divine experiences. Do not be afraid of being powerful. I love that, Mother Mary. This is like a new deck. I got this one. So one of the things with this new 9-year cycle, it's like new decks are coming into my life. Like, I love it. So look at her. How beautiful. Right? And that message, first of all, miraculous encounter. So be ready for the miraculous encounter. What is the most miraculous encounter you can have, by the way? As excited as I would be to totally like run it. I mean, I do feel like I connect with Mother Mary daily, but like I know it can feel so exciting. Like, what if I was walking outside and suddenly there she was, or whoever, whatever master you're excited about. But really, the most miraculous encounter is yourself. If you connect with your true self, that is the most miraculous encounter. That is the medicine. That is the blessing. And I feel like this is what Mother Mary is saying through this. It's not like miraculous encounter. Guess what? I'm going to be here. I know she's here. I know that the masters are here. But she's like, I'm here to help you connect with you. And do not be afraid of being powerful. So that's the other thing with this, with when you dwell in your soul, when you meditate to receive, what are you receiving? This is the paradox of spirituality. You're receiving what you already have. You're receiving your power. But we have so much resistance, especially as helpers, so much fear of our own power. And so she's saying we're letting go of that power, that fear of our power. And then finally, we have Hathor, light activation, acceleration, brilliance, stand in your light. We had the new moon yesterday, I believe. We have just a few more weeks, right, till February 16th, final aspects of the year of the snake. And we step into like, I feel like Hathor time, like light, gold, fire, being seen, being visible. And so this is the other thing about today's practice, right? It's like standing in your light, brilliance, activating your light. So those are the cards for today. And so these are the two aspects of our class. So hold on a second. I see. Oh, Roxana. Namaste, Roxana. These are the two. Hold on. It wasn't showing me who was here. Oh my gosh. Look at all of you that are here. Hello, Deborah, Elizabeth, Emily, Jan, Lucy, Lynn, Michelle. I haven't connected with you in a while. Patty, Roxana. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My screen was showing me like this. Okay. So the two aspects, and some of you who actually took meditation classes with me in person back when I was in Chicago at Beverly Yoga Center or at retreat centers. And then I know some of you who are my clients, I always start my sessions with a short little meditation between 1 to 3 minutes. Sometimes it gets a little longer if there's more that your soul's wanting to happen, right? Like some of you might be like, yeah, sometimes that happens when there's messages coming through or you're doing a release. So some of this will be familiar. I'm just really naming it so you understand. Okay, so there it becomes more conscious. So one is there's the aspect of going within, right? I know some of this seems so obvious, but it's important to name it. Going within, right? So it's like healing the addiction that we have, that humanity has. And I think helpers have a knowing because we're wired, right? We have a divine assignment, right? To help, right? We have a divine assignment to help. And because we have a divine assignment to help, there has always been some part of us that has questioned the status quo in some way. So I remember when I was like a teenager, young teenager, seeing somewhere like a bumper sticker that said like begin within or something. And that was, I mean, I had never taken a yoga class, never read anything about meditation. I mean, this world was so foreign to me, but yet when I read that, it like spoke to me like of something I knew. So similar for you, you might have always had a sense, but humanity does have addiction to the opposite of going within, right? It comes from the ego structure. We think the answers are outside of ourselves. And even as a helper, even if you meditate every day and you pray every day and you, and I'm not suggesting you have to do that, by the way. This isn't like a moral thing at all, but whatever practices you do, we are being, the bar is higher now, is what I'm trying to say. We are being called to really embody these truths that we say we believe, right? So if we say we believe, begin within, right? Like in the Bible, it says, what is it like? Seek ye the kingdom of heaven and all else will be added onto you, right? Matthew, whatever that was. I don't mean to be irreverent. But I'm also not like religious, but I do love finding in different spiritual texts the truths and understanding deeply what that means. Right? So what is that saying is that everything we're looking for begins inside. Yet we have the addiction to go outside and find it. And so as a helper, we're at the forefront of embodying that. So you, in this moment, I want you to start asking yourself, first of all, how are you already doing that? That's the first place. Like, how are you already beginning within? How are you already going inside to resource yourself, to connect with your soul, to receive unconditional love? Like, how are you already doing that? And really appreciate that about yourself. You know, maybe you're meditating, maybe you go on nature walks, and that's when you connect with inside. Maybe you have a coach, and that's your part of your investment in connecting and embodying that truth. You know, maybe you have a rich prayer life and doesn't mean it has to take long, but that's how you go within. And now I want you to start asking, what's the next level for you? What is the next level? And when we go into our meditation, you're gonna receive that answer, whether you hear it in this moment or later. Because that's the thing, right? Like the first masterclass of January is next week, the 28th, and it's called New Year, New Way to Serve, the shift you've been preparing for. And one of the things in that masterclass is knowing, acknowledging how you have been preparing. So I really, nothing that I shared today is to make you feel behind or like worried, like you have to catch up. If that happens, that's your ego structure. Just catch it like, oh, there's my ego trying to get me out of presence, trying to make me feel inadequate in some way. It's the opposite, is to help you acknowledge you're not starting from scratch, you're not starting from zero. And also to help us be really honest with ourselves, like, where am I still needing to go within first? And then the other aspect is the energy sovereignty. And that includes calling back your attention to yourself, calling back your power, your light, your energy, like knowing how to do that consciously throughout the day. Again, as a helper, you have all these little antennae that are connected, attuned to the world, the needs of the world, right? In different ways. And we need to know how to call that back, not from a place of fear, not from hiding, but from a place of empowerment, from understanding that your attention is the most precious currency. So whatever you give your attention to, you must choose consciously. So there's that, calling back your energy. And then the other one is releasing what isn't yours. And this is what I want to say about this. There are, especially for the releasing what's not yours, I find there's more about that. There are thousands of beautiful practices to do that. There's crystals, there's visualizations, there's calling on different angels and ascended masters. essential oils, there's music, there's drumming, there's sound healing, there's mantras, there's chanting, there's chakra work. There's so many. And I'm not saying that's bad, that's a beautiful thing. And so, what I find my role is not, and I will, my strategy that I'm going to just super simple. And I'm not suggesting that's the best one or the only one. I really think you will find a way. But this is the important thing. None of those strategies and tools are long lasting if your mind is not aligned with it. If your thoughts are what I would define as martyr helper thoughts. So, for example, if you are someone that feels like I do take on other people's energy, I do absorb that. I could give you a whole list of things to do. Well, buy this crystal, use this essential oil, da, 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 da. And maybe it'll help up to a point. But eventually you'll feel leaky again. That used to happen to me all the time. Like I would do the things and I'd be like, why is this still? But this is the thing. There's a multiple layers to that, to why. But I'm going to share this one that's really essential in this moment. For example, if your thought is, whether it's conscious or unconscious, okay, I must always be available. Let's say that's a thought you have in your brain and you don't even know, but it's there. I must always be available. If somebody needs me, I must always be available. And that thought is in your mind like a mantra. Or it might not be that one. I wrote a couple because then I didn't want to forget. I have to be vigilant. I can't relax. I have to make sure I don't make a mistake. I have to make sure I don't show off. I can't make people uncomfortable. Those thoughts in the background, or I need to prove myself. No matter how many essential oils, crystals, and practices you do, that's the leap. And so the first thing, and that's when we go into meditation, you're going to ask that question. You're going to start to identify what is the thought that is creating both my energy scattering all over, right? Where I feel like I'm here, but my power's over there, my attention's over there, my energy's over there. Or I'm here and I have like the pain of the world on me, right? Or the pain of this client, or the pain of my family member, or the pain of my family legacy. And so we're going to identify, your soul wants you to identify what those thoughts are. And usually it's like one main one, and then there's a lot of little branches that come out of it. Because once you do that, if you, for example, identify, oh my gosh, the thought is, I have to always be available. And you recognize that is not a helpful thought. Then you can start to, and this is what I coach my clients on, is like, then you start to ask the question, well, what is a helpful thought? What part of me is thinking that thought? What is that part afraid will happen if I let go of that thought? What is the thought that my soul is saying, here, think this instead? This is actually the truth. How do I practice that thought? And then, even just when you start to identify the leaky thought, all this, whatever strategy you use is going to be beautiful. Whether it's a crystal, an essential oil, calling on the angels, like then it really becomes powerful, sovereign energy. So, meditation for helpers, dwell in your soul, increase your capacity. That's what I called it. Because my intention, whether this is a solo thing or I keep doing it, is that this is not like, also what I said, not an escape. This is not like, oh, life is so stressful, let me escape and meditate. No, no, no. It's like I'm going back in to recharge, to connect, to receive from my soul, to remember who I am, to increase my capacity, because I'm so filled up with my soul that when I'm around other stuff that used to overwhelm me, it doesn't overwhelm me that much anymore. And maybe there's times where you're like, wow, that didn't even affect me. Or it did, but I got past it so much faster. And it's like, that's what increasing your capacity means. And there's many, many, many examples of that. And I want to share with you, I've not said this out loud, I don't think, to anyone yet. My word for the year, And I was in so much resistance about this. I did, for those of you who did the Guadalupe gathering with me, I think it was December 4th. It's on YouTube if you want to do it. I've done it that was the 11th one, 11 consecutive years. And one of the things that I've started doing that is kind of leading a meditation to see what's your word for the year. So whenever I lead it, I don't usually get the word during the ceremony, but I'll afterwards, and this is what happened last year in December. After I was done, I actually took a really vigorous walk because I was just had so much energy. And probably a few days later, I was lying in bed and I was like, okay, I'm ready. Like I kind of like just walked through the class that I had done, the ceremony, and was in this very kind of meditative space, feeling Our Lady of Guadalupe be there with me and feeling gratitude. And then just very curious, like, what's my word for the year? And the word that came up was surplus. And I have to say, I was like, what? Like, it was just like, yeah, but just, and I just didn't, I was like, surplus. And I was really like, maybe that wasn't it. I'm just gonna wait. But I kind of knew it must be it because it did not come from my brain. And so I've really been with that. Like I obviously I knew what surplus was, but I looked it up some more and I was really kind of waiting for another word to show up. I finally accepted the word surplus. And I realized like, oh, okay, because this is what we're being guided to do, right? To share our medicine from overflow. Can you imagine that? That you're so filled that everything that overflows still can serve so many people. It almost feels like an impossible thing to our human brain, but we're not human, right? We're divine beings having a human experience. So, with that, we're going to go into our meditation practice. And what I'm envisioning is that it's going to be a combination of guided meditation, and then there's going to be a moment of just like going into silence. Okay. And so if you want to have a journal nearby in case, there's any times where I'm guiding you to ask your soul a question and you want to write it down, feel free to do so. You will get the recording because I did press record. Okay, yes. I was like, so that's what we're going to do. All right, my dears. So I invite you to take some nice cleansing breaths. And I invite you to set the intention that this meditation is not an escape, that this meditation is an arrival back home to yourself, your true home, not your logical mind, not even your intellect. There's a place for those, but your heart, your enlightened ideas and thoughts, your true power. And as you come back to yourself, you're also remembering that having sovereign energetic boundaries is your birthright, is actually meant to be natural and easy. And it is how you can create more impact for more people. That practicing sovereign energy is how you let the universe know you're ready. You're ready for this next chapter, era, whatever you want to call it, of your service, of your creativity, of your leadership, of your productivity, whatever word resonates. One that gives you energy, not takes it away. One that feels like a blessing as you bless others. And one that requires your deepest authenticity. And so that's why we are here today, gathered in this meditation for helpers. So I invite you to close your eyes if your eyes are still open, or if you have a candle in front of you and you rather gaze at a flame or something like that, please trust whatever feels right for you. I invite you to bring your awareness to your heart center. And I find that it can be very powerful to bring the palms of my hands over my heart center, not where your organ heart is, but your heart center. Even if you just do that for a moment, because it's very easy for our attention to be in our head. So bring it down. And you can either keep your hands there or relax your hands on your lap. But with your awareness in your heart, now see that there's a beautiful flame there. This flame is the entryway, is a portal to your higher heart, your soul's heart. And so I invite you to visualize that this flame is emanating a light in front of you. And there's a path in front of you now. And I know I often use the golden light path, but right now it looks like a rose gold. So there's a rose gold path in front of you. And you're standing on that path. And as you stand on that path, you're aware that you're not actually going anywhere outside of yourself. You're going deeper inside your true self. So as you stand on the path, you see a beautiful portal. And it just looks like an archway with this, as you look through it, you see this beautiful pink and golden light. And remember, this is being created here by your own soul. And you're invited now to step through that portal, to go deeper inside of your beautiful helper heart. As you step inside, understand that this is the heart that is beyond emotions, beyond any wounds you might have experienced. This is your beautiful, pristine, whole, wise heart, your helper heart. And as you step inside, you're in this, what looks like otherworldly garden. There's flowers, but they all have this kind of like golden, it's almost like flowers made of light. The sky looks pink and lavenders and like shooting stars. It's a very multi-dimensional space. It's representing how vast you are. We're in this little itty bitty body and we forget how vast we are. And so as you're there, there is a cushion that appears, a meditation cushion, the most comfortable one you've ever seen, designed just for you. And so if it needs a backrest, it has a backrest. If it needs a lot of, cushioning, it has a lot of cushioning. If you need it flat, like it just, your soul knows exactly what you need. And so see yourself sitting on that cushion, surrounded by these stars, shooting stars, the lavender, pinks, orange sky, these otherworldly flowers, this beautiful scent scents like jasmine and lilies, but it's a scent that in the earth with its density we can't fully receive. So in this moment, you are receiving it. And as you are there, you are now setting the intention of calling back all of your power, any fragmented aspects of yourself. And even if you're like, well, what does that exactly mean? Trust that your soul knows. You're calling back your power, you're calling back your gifts, you're calling back. I just keep coming back to your power. You're calling back your power. And as you do that, you're asking that any thought that is disempowering, that actually has you leak your power, give your power away, not trust your power, ask for it to be revealed. For example, I'm hearing in the collective, it's not safe to be powerful. I don't know enough to be powerful. People will judge me if I'm powerful. I will be hurt if I'm powerful. I will do bad things if I'm powerful. Notice, what is the thought? Too much will be expected of me if I show my power. It's too much responsibility. What is the thought? That programmed thought, whether it's conscious or not conscious, that has you in some way leak your power away. The world is not ready for my power. I heard that. None of those thoughts are true anymore, if they ever were. And so Mother Mary steps forward, from this card. She said, do not be afraid of being powerful. And remember, these divine beings are beyond any religious dogma. And she's saying, do not be afraid of being powerful. And you might affirm, I love my power. I accept my power. I am safe when I am powerful. The world is blessed when I embody my power. And as you do that, you notice as all this light is coming back to you. It's like all those shooting stars that were overhead. Now this light is coming back. It doesn't hurt. It's just coming back to you. You're receiving your light. And as that happens now, we're also releasing. So set the intention of releasing any energy that is not yours. And notice what thought has you take on other people's pain, judgments, dark energies. Is it, I must always be available? Is it, it's my job to carry other people's pain? Is it, they can't handle it, so I have to hold it? What is the thought? And maybe it's so buried deeply that you can't hear it, but just set the intention. If there is a thought inside of me that has me unwillingly, unconsciously take on the pain of others, I'm willing to let it go. That was never ours to carry as helpers. That is not the role of the helper. And so as that happens, you see this like in this frequency that we're in, there's so much more ability to release. It's being released. And you're going to see, have your soul show you well, I'm seeing the divine director. It says, create space for divine order to unfold. This is what we just did. You called back your power. You released what is in yours. That is creating space. And now Hathor's card said acceleration, brilliance, stand in your light. So see yourself again in the space, in the light. And I'm going to put the timer for 3 minutes and we're going to be in silence. And as you're in silence, I will hold this silence with you. But if anything comes forward for me to, as I'm, channeling the Reiki healing energy, I will do that as well. But I won't say it out loud for those 3 minutes. So we're doing this together. Everyone here live, everyone on the replay. Get comfortable. Remember, you are just letting yourself receive. That is what we're doing for 3 minutes. And maybe you just say, yes, I'm willing to receive. Yes, I'm receiving. I'm receiving. I was going to put 3 hours instead of 3 minutes on my timer. Maybe we'll do that next time. Okay, let's begin. So staying in the space for a moment, as you're in that receptive space, notice if there's anything in particular you want to ask your soul for. More energy, more trust, a specific guidance on something, more self-love. Just check in your heart and ask. Just ask your soul. Say, I'm asking for this. I want to receive more of this from you. Notice your heart, so tender and soft, is receiving it as light in this moment. And so you stand up from that cushion and you look around, really take in the view, remembering that this is inside of you. And so step through that portal, back to the path, the beginning of the path, back to your heart where the flame was, back fully in your body. Ask your soul to integrate everything that happened beyond your conscious mind through your physical, mental, emotional bodies across all dimension of time. And to continue to give you guidance and signs and validation throughout the day today. And I'm also hearing if there was anything this is what I'm hearing, you received messages, some of them you heard consciously, others that you might have not consciously become aware of yet. You're gonna become aware of them. So we ask the universe, your angels, your guides, your soul to help bring those into your conscious awareness through your dreams, through symbols, through songs, through synchronicities, through thoughts that kind of like land in your mind with ease and flow. And as we step back, if there's anything you haven't written in your journal that you want to write down, please take a moment to do so now. And if you want to share anything in the chat, anything, either just anything that feels important to share or like you want it to be witnessed. What I'm feeling is that I will do another one. I'm still tuning into when those will be. But I'm feeling like this will be saved so that moving forward, I can direct new people to come and hear this one for the intro, because that's really important just for people to have. And I don't want to every time I do the class have to go like repeat that. Just like the thinking behind what this practice is, the intention for it. Good, Jan. I love that. Yeah, I find that receiving via light is very helpful and powerful because it bypasses, I mean, it might be different reasons for you, Jan, but for me, it bypasses the egoic mind, the intellect that's trying to figure out, well, what am I receiving? What do I really need to receive? Can I receive? But when we receive it as light, which is ultimately what all of it is, where it's like bypasses those resistances that we have and we can receive it that way. Good. I'm so glad, Deborah. Yes. Presence. I love that. And so this is remember, we're going into, okay, two things. One, I hope to see you next week in the masterclass. I'm very excited about it. I'm going to be introducing some new concepts, including this whole idea of the sovereign helper ecosystem, the internal ecosystem that's inside of us. I really think this is going to bring things together so that it feels more holistic of like, how do I embody that? And also share the martyr helper ecosystem that we still are working through, because that will help you identify it. So that'll be next week. I already talked, the podcast episode this week is going to be all about self-doubt. Can we get rid of that already? Like really that. The kryptonite of helpers is one of those is self-doubt. And I have still slots available this month for sovereignty consults. So if you're interested in having a private session with me, that is a free 1 hour consultation. I'd love to connect. When I send the replay, I'll send those links there for the masterclass and the consult. There was something else I was going to say. Let me read. Thank you everyone for receiving the light. Yes, I'm so glad you said that, Jan, because that's the beauty of gathering together is we can both receive and release more powerfully when done in community. Aida, giving thanks. I need more stillness. Yes, that's what I was going to get ready to say. Because that was initially my first, today again, it was more kind of giving the behind the philosophy, the sovereign helper meditation philosophy behind it. But the year of the fire horse is such a paradox because the fire horse is momentum, movement, action. I mean, think about a fire horse, right? It's like, and yet it must be anchored with stillness. If not, it will lead to burnout, frenzied action, inflammation in the body, just rushing mind, all the things that we don't want. And so this is why this came through where I was hearing the Divine Mother say, like, we must gather in stillness and teach this, like have people really anchor it with that understanding of what that is for. Because it's very powerful when you realize, okay, I need stillness, not because I'm escaping my life, even if parts of me sometimes feel that way, right? Even if and so I understand, like last year was a very difficult year for me. And it was also a very blessed year. Because I keep thinking of that, like it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. That's what last year felt like. And there were certainly times that I went into meditation with like, oh my gosh, things feel so challenging. But because I have that core belief that meditation is actually not an escape, even if I went in it with that, like, oh, my life feels so overwhelming, eventually I would come back to the truth, right? Of like, oh, okay, wait a minute. Actually, everything is unfolding as it's supposed to unfold. Actually, I can connect with my power even in this situation that feels very disempowering. Actually, I can actually connect with more energy, even though I'm doing a million things and my ego mind wants to really tell me that I'm just depleted and I have no more energy. Right. And so I don't remember, Aida, I don't know if I'm saying your name right, but thank you for that. Robin, I received grace, acceptance, and confidence. I release being in edit critical mode. Yes, Robin. And Robin, you just birthed a baby, a book baby. So that's amazing. Absolutely. Grace, acceptance, confidence, and release critique mode. In fact, never get in critique mode again. You can be in refining mode. You can be, that's a very divine feminine way, but none of us need, that's for all of us. Let's just release critique mode. That is cancel, clear to read. Yes. And the self-doubt. I am very excited about this episode because it's like, why? Why do so many heart-led helpers have so much self-doubt? And then yet you see people in the world who are very narcissistic, doing a lot of, let's just say, harmful things. And they don't seem to be plagued by self-doubt, right? It's like, so I want to talk about that. Deborah, I have begun to ask my soul to help me replace self-doubt with soul-led discernment. Beautiful. Yes. Yes. And we also need to understand, I'll give you a little sneak peek on the episode. Self-doubt isn't coming from our soul. It comes from the ego structure. It is a purely ego structure phenomenon. Because think about it, the ego is designed, programmed to believe the answers are out there. We need to fix ourselves. We have to keep looking, 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 looking. So self-doubt is a symptom of the ego structure. And somewhere along the lines, especially for helpers, and there were intentional reasons for this, that got blurred because in our effort to be reflective and to always be improving ourselves and not go into blaming and shaming others and judging others, which are all beautiful things. I'm not making fun of that. But that was turned against us to then become this addiction, attachment to self-doubt. And that needs to be canceled, cleared, deleted for sure. So Ah, see, self-learning. Yes. I didn't understand the first Art, Aida. Maybe you're telling me how to say your name and I'm not getting it right. I'm sorry. Valerie, dolphin tattoo today. New chapter in confidence and joy choices. Wait, Valerie, are you saying you got a tattoo of a dolphin today? If so, I am so super excited for you. Awesome. And I didn't ask people to share where they're from. I know, Valerie, you're in France, but wherever you're anchoring the light, thank you so much. Oh, Ida, giving so much of myself, I get lost. Who am I? Yes. Oh my gosh, I help so many clients with this because I had to so help myself with this. I remember a client I had once in the consultation we had. I asked her because she, again, like many of us, was a helper, helping everybody, everybody, everybody. And when I asked her, I think it was a question around what did she want? What did she desire? She couldn't answer that because when we did a pie chart of her life, every slice was given to everybody else. There was like a teeny little sliver for her. And so no wonder she couldn't answer that easily, right? And sometimes we don't answer it easily, even when we start giving time back to ourselves, because it's a process of connecting with our desire. And sometimes your soul is just, it's not time for you to get the full reveal yet. But I understand that, Ida. Thank you for sharing that. That is like a thing, and I can help you with that if you want help. Let's see. Michelle, perfection zaps me. Oh, that's another thing. Did I do this as a podcast episode? I mean, I'm in episode 154. I can't believe it, so I don't remember. But I did a training once, and said that perfectionism was one of the poisons of the priestess. And so, yeah, perfectionism is also of the ego. The divine feminine, Michelle, is perfect as you go, right? This is an example of that. I could have been like, no, I gotta wait to have like a perfect plan for this meditation class. But I've learned is like, no, I have to just perfect as I go. As I go, as I talk about it, it'll get refined. I'll understand more like, oh, okay, this is what this has to be about, right? Perfect as you go, refine as you go. Yes, you got a tattoo of the dolphin, Valerie. That's amazing. Amen. Hace equals amen. Oh, ashe. Okay, thank you, Robin. I just agreed. Yes, Robin Anderson. That describes it. Oh, so you know Ida. Okay, this is starting to make sense to me. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for coming together. I need to trust and lean into not knowing. Yes, Michelle. And in fact, with this sitting in this meditation, part of it is sitting in the unknown. Again, that's one of the things as helpers, have to be in the forefront of that. Of I know it's one of the most challenging things. I mean, ever since Greg got diagnosed with cancer, oh my gosh, have I been like in the master training of being with the unknown. And he just had oral surgery last week. Last week, yeah. Oh my God. This was to treat I know this is going like way longer now. I should tell. Okay, when I send the replay, I'm gonna tell. Feel free to stop at the 45-minute mark if you want. But I'll just share this because it might be helpful. It was because one of the cancer medications, he developed a side effect that was pretty awful, but he couldn't have it treated while he was going through chemo. And since he's in between chemo right now, we finally did that. And so I feel like I just got off of a week and it's still there, but the intensity of this week of unknown. And I was like, oh gosh, I thought I had mastered this lesson last year. I mean, I really didn't, because obviously this is something you keep mastering and practicing. But I realized once again, like, oh yeah, we just have to become masterful at being in the unknown. Not just being in the unknown, but receiving so much comfort and love from our soul, from the divine beings, because this is what I've learned about being in the unknown. The gift of being, there's many gifts, but one of the gifts of being in the unknown, like truly in a season of that, is that the veils, if we take that as an opportunity, the veils really thin. The opportunity to connect with your soul, with your divine guides, with God, with source, it's amplified because the ego structure hates the unknown. So it will try to distract us from it, try us to get to like figure it out, get control, like do something, be super vigilant. But if we learn how, and this is why I have a coach, and this is what I help my clients with, part of it, if we learn to breathe and not give in to the ego structure, at least not always, we open to the miracles and grace that happens in the unknown. And again, this is as helpers, we're like as one of my coaches says, we go first, we go often, we go with purpose. Right? Like I know if I'm here to help people, then I know my soul's curriculum was like, okay, well, you got to master that, you got to master that, you got to practice that, you got to practice that. You're going to help people with the unknown. We got to make sure you have a lot of experiences with that. And so I forgot who was saying this, but Michelle, thank you for that. Yes, I did, Robin. I did do perfectionism. Okay, great. So you all can look. I'm gonna have somebody at one point. I'm gonna have an assistant who's gonna like index the podcast episodes, so I can have it and be like, if you go to episode 53, you can whatever, whatever. But thank you so much, everyone. I'm gonna just pull one last card from the Ascended Masters, Divine Masters for the whole group. Thank you for hanging in here. And I hope to see you Wednesday for the podcast, next Thursday for the masterclass. And if you want to schedule a sovereignty consult, I would love to connect with you. I'm gonna send all that information with the replay. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. I would love to connect. All right, we already know these three masters are with you, right? But let's see I think the question for this is which divine master is helping you integrate today's meditation class? Okay, it's going to be walking with you. Ooh, here we go. Oh, I love this. Oh my God. Okay, I'm freaking out. Sorry. So we got Lakshmi and Ganesh. I've literally been doing a Ganesh mantra every day since the year started. It's for one of my sons who's going through his own initiations right now. So we have Lakshmi and Ganesh, prosperity vibration. You are attracting health, wealth, and happiness. And what I love about this card, I mean, I love Ganesh and I love Lakshmi, and I've always thought of Ganesh as remover of obstacles, but I think it's in this deck where it also says Ganesh removes illusions. And I was like, what? There's just something so powerful about that. So anyway, look at them. All right. Again, let me read that. Prosperity vibration, you're attracting health, wealth, and happiness. And then you got Sopdet, cosmic power, unlimited potential, sacred mission initiation. So I really feel that you all were like, yep, I'm raising my hand. Yep, I'm here for the mission that I signed up for, the mission that's going to bring me so many blessings, so much love, so much light, so much connection, and is going to bless the world, and I blast the world with my blessing and my light. Look at her. I mean, like, this is so powerful. All right. That's it. I'm going to stop talking. All right. Love you all so much. And I'm going to send you so much love. Okay. I will see you soon. Bye, everyone. And by the way, if you know anyone who you're like, oh my gosh, they would so benefit from this meditation, feel free when I send the replay and the email, just forward them the email. Feel free to just do that. Okay. Okay. I think Roxana, you might have been, thank you. Okay. Thank you, Roxana. All right, bye everyone. Bye bye. See ya.